There are wolves in wolves' clothing telling the weak that the sheep are the ones to fear. You are that sheep, baby boy. Courage runs in your blood, so you will be tapped into. Because we decided our home will be wherever we make it. Back then, schools would do physical checkups for you, and I just had like a lot of welts and cuts and whatnot on my back and on my body. And so for me, I wasn't really concerned about it, so I just kind of like, you know, took my clothes off for my physical like normal, because it wasn't a thing that registered in my little kid mind. And then I was asked like what had happened, and I just told like the nurse there, like, this is what happens when you're bad in my family. And so I entered into like kinship care, staying with like aunts and uncles and like family members around 5 or 6. And then I entered into state care around 7 or 8-ish. And I just didn't really know how to handle it. So I handled it, but I don't really know how. It was on autopilot. It's just like this, one of those things that your body just does is when it goes through trauma. Either it shuts down or it just powers through. My time in foster care was very difficult. I was in foster care 13 and a half years altogether, about 14 years. And I bounced to 28 different placements. So I became very adaptable, but it's very, very weird to become adaptable to such traumatic changes. So it prepared me in a way for adulthood though. And then I exited straight out into homelessness. That kind of started my whole bouncing situation of couch to floor to couch to city, to shelter, to bridge. And that was just my very, very first entrance into being homeless. I don't know how I made it through those times, but I did. I started writing like just as a hobby and just on my own at 7. I wrote a lot while I was homeless. Music makes me feel empowered. Music makes me feel like me. Music is as much a part of like my ensemble or like my personality as like my pants or anything like that, or my jewelry. And then somehow that'll turn into a poem about Black identities. It's very random. And then around that same time, I had applied to be the Seattle Youth Poet Laureate. I didn't have any expectations. And then it was announced I was one of the 8 finalists. I was like, I'm one of the 8 finalists. And I remember just being like, okay, cool, I made it. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to make it as a finalist. And the Seattle Youth Poet Laureate for 2016 is, but I was just like, okay, it just took me a second to process it. And at the top, it just said, they don't have a home, but they do have a publishing deal. And I was just like, oh my gosh, because with the Youth Poet Laureate position, you get a publishing deal. And I was just like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. A majority of the work I put in my book is actually while I was homeless. I think all of it, except for like a couple poems, actually was all written while I was homeless. I wasn't expecting the results and like the reactions I got from my book. A lot of people were just very, very like emotionally moved by it. And I just felt like, okay, cool. I'm like writing about stuff. And like, I felt like it was good writing, but I didn't think it was stuff that was going to be like tear jerking people. And people were like, I was crying reading your book. I'm like, I was not expecting that reaction. Mind you, I was still homeless at this time. So when all this was over, I still went back to a shelter. And I thought that was very, very weird. And I was applying to different programs. I was doing all the assessments. I was doing everything that I could, and nothing was working. And so it was very, very hard to find a place. I couldn't find anything. Especially in a place like Seattle, like the rent's always raising, but the payment for your jobs isn't. And it's very like stress inducing. I'm like, I don't know how I'm keeping it together, but I'm not gonna question it because I'm still doing it. And so I'm homeless. And then I'm just trying to figure out like what's going on. And then I hear that I qualified for the voucher program, Section 8. And so I was just like, I'm getting housing. And I was like, oh, okay, what do we do? And they let me know that there was a program that they wanted me to try, family unification program. But the FUP program was great because I needed something that was just like, I just needed housing, and I needed it to not be a transitional place where I had to move out when I was 26 or something like that. The publishing deal and just the Seattle Youth Poet Laureate ship in general was the best thing that ever happened to me, because without that wouldn't have actually led to any of the opportunities I had today. And so I got the opportunity to open for Ta-Nehisi Coates at Benaroya Hall for 3,000 people. And I was just like, what? I was like, I don't know. I had never been to Benaroya Hall. But I came on there, and because I knew how terrified I was, I immediately was just like, act like you're not terrified. And I found this quote by Juan Ramon Jimenez, and it said, when they give you ruled paper, write the other way. And I was like, and I got it tattooed upon my arm last week because I love it so much. And I was like, okay, that is my quote and that is what I'm gonna live by. And so I've just been doing these public speaking things. And so usually when people ask me what I'm doing, I'm like, I'm still kind of working 3 to 4 jobs, somewhere in between there. But it's my favorite thing. I'm doing everything I want to do. And that's really, really fulfilling. That's like an emotional goal for me also, you know, and just really making differences. I just really want to make a difference in small but significant ways, as I like to say. But yeah. I say again, my son, you will be tapped into. For courage runs through you. Black courage, thicker than blood, but flowing smooth as a sky blue stream. Black courage, I can't teach you, my love, but I will lead by example. You can never love your black too loudly, and there is no such thing as holding your head too high.